This is Andrew Davey with Nevada Forward, and we're here with John and Diane Hall. So, why are you here today, and why are you concerned about the nomination of Stephen Mnuchin for Treasury Secretary?
Would you like to comment?
Yeah, I'm concerned because Mnuchin has a very bad habit of being the foreclosure king.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get any more foreclosures going on, it's going to destroy the whole infrastructure of the United States. And you give him the Treasury, and he's going to go to the banks and pay off all of Wall Street, and here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
Too big to fail.
Now, some would say that, well, these foreclosures, that's the fault of these reckless people who clearly didn't qualify for these loans, and they got themselves into all this trouble. So why are you blaming poor little bankers like Stephen Mnuchin?
I'll answer that.
Yeah.
That is true. A lot of people did get involved in that. However, it became so lucrative for the banks and the mortgage companies, they got into false paperwork and making, not only were they making loans to people who didn't qualify and couldn't afford it, but they were making people who could with bogus paperwork to lock them into various different things, which, false mortgage, false documents and so forth, which they can leverage at a later date with foreclosures or whatever, that us being
And reselling.
one of those.
That would resell the mortgage.
Yeah, they resell the mortgage,
And make more money.
right, after they've collected a bunch.
Now, I understand you have your own story when it comes to your experience as homeowners here in Southern Nevada. What exactly happened to you?
Well, originally, we, in 2003, my previous husband died, and we got caught up in a probate, and the house had to be either assumed with the loan, which was with Chase, and or be bought out by someone, and I didn't have enough credit experience, so I looked around and to see if I could get a loan for the house, and I was working on it, and then I met my husband now, John Hall, who came to fix my vehicle that had been tampered with after my husband died, and we became friends, and we were both single and about the same age and with the same experiences, and both had been in California.
We were introduced to our doctor.
Our doctor.
My doctor is her doctor
Uh-huh.
and was her former deceased husband's doctor.
Yeah.
And he's a personal friend, so he introduces. So to make a long story short, there was a second. She knew the guy who had the second, and when there was pressure coming from the family, they were trying to steal the house that was left to her, and the guy who owned the second asked her to get John to buy the second so I can get out from under and don't have to listen to these people.
He foreclosed on the second, which put him in first position.
So I had already sold my house from a divorce, and I had some cash at the time. I had to convert into something to buy a home, so I bought it, in essence, for her, but I had to have a home to live in. We had no idea they were going to wind up getting married or anything. So the issue came up with Chase, was crooked at the time. And so instead of assuming that loan,
We went for the new loan.
I applied for another loan, which I got through this broker and had no problems until we were informed about a year after having that loan that mortgage company had bellied up and that we needed a new mortgage. And then went back to the same broker who said they could help us, and from there
It went downhill.
From
June 2006. It went downhill when it went to Countrywide. But the broker was crooked, and he made a lot of money. From the first loan, he made over $17,000, and the second one, $35,000. And then we stopped it with a rescission letter in June 1st of 2006, but it didn't rescind the whole loan. And we paid Countrywide from 2006 to 2009, and then we filed under AB 149 because it was a crooked loan.
Yeah, AB 149 is the law here in Nevada
Foreclosure-
set up for the foreclosure mediation program.
Foreclosure mediation program, right. And we filed and were accepted, and we had a lawyer through Live Law, which is a legal aid center of Southern Nevada, and happened to be Michael Joe who wrote the law for foreclosure mediation.
We've been in mediation
And-
3 times, and the way the law was written, they had to produce original documents. They could never produce them because they never existed. The documents they had were manufactured, and this is where the problem comes. So the first 2 times in mediation, they threw them out because they didn't have documents.
Okay, he's got that on tape.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Oh no, I was. But since you mentioned that, but then the last time you went into mediation,
Right.
they tried to get you to settle, but with these faulty documents.
Fraudulent documents.
Fraudulent,
produced
altered,
by.
and manufactured and forged documents.
So I guess this would be the point when our readers ask, well, then what does any of this have to do with President-elect Trump's pick for Treasury Secretary?
Well, if he was, the allegations are he was involved in this in the beginning in foreclosure stuff, and if he was an instrument in that, then he can't be trusted to act fairly in this office that he's going to take. Therefore, and he should not be in it if he's been part of this. There is other bankers qualified, as well as he is, that can do the job. However, I'm sure Trump picked him because he was successful at whatever he did, and he wasn't prosecuted.
And he's
which
part of the Goldman Sachs. He's part of the Goldman Sachs group.
Which would lead to, well, has already led to
Yeah.
quite a few folks scratching their heads because when the president campaigned last year, he campaigned on promises to drain the swamp, running against Wall Street corruption, and now you have this guy from Wall Street who has this history, his history in the mortgage business, in line to become Treasury Secretary.
I feel that unfortunately some of Trump's picks for some of the, some of the offices are going back to Wall Street. And he seemed to have picked a lot of the Wall Street bankers.
He's probably leaning
And-
towards those people because
He
their
worked
brain
with
power.
them.
He said he wanted the best, and there's no doubt if this Mnuchin was involved in all this stuff, he's obviously smart. My problem with him,
Yeah.
if this is the case, his trustworthiness is in doubt. That because I've learned one thing in my 71 years, leopards do not change their spots; they merely get a little dark.
Yes.
So finally, what do you have to say to Congress, particularly our 2 senators, Cortez Masto and Heller, when it comes time for them to vote on Mnuchin's confirmation?
I personally would say to them, instead of just taking everything on a face value and you make your vote, dig a little deeper into his history and find out if there's
If he's
allegations or
still-
thoughts of
Yeah.
things he may have done, if they're real. If they are real, then don't vote him in because it's going to create problems
Yeah.
for everybody.
It's going to create a whole new.
We've already got enough problems as it
foreclosure.
is.
Yeah.
It's going to start all over.
And I'm sure that Trump, given the time to check this out, and if he found out what a lot of people say this Mnuchin is, he would withdraw his nomination.
So is that what you're hoping
That's-
President Trump will do?
That's what I mean, he would see the light.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the truth can come out if you dig deep enough.
Yeah. Okay.